What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to Simba Sports Hub, man, where we talk all things Washington Commanders football. Hey, your boy Simba got another reaction video, man. As you all know, the NFL League's meeting is going on. I think it was happening today and pretty much yesterday. And Dan Quinn sits down with This Is Football on ESPN, and he pretty much goes over, talks a little bit about about Jaden Daniels and looking forward to the draft and things like that. So we gonna react to it, man. So let's talk about it. All right, so let's go ahead and get into this reaction video. Let's see what Dan Quinn is talking about.
All right, Dan Quinn is here, coach of the Washington Commanders. What's going on?
Man, a lot.
A lot. Let's start there.
And no, it's cool to be here because this time of year, it's like, all right, free agency's over. It's like this little halftime in between free agency, the draft, get together at this type of meeting, hitch on some of the topics with the league. But like, okay, then we get back, we're back into the draft spot.
Anything you're watching topic-wise this week as far as rule changes, as far as competition committee type stuff?
You know, one that was interesting to me that they may bring up is regarding like timing at the end of the game. Would it ever get to a spot where it goes to basketball, where it had tenths of a second left, as opposed to 10, 9, 8, 4, 3, 2, 1.9 compared to that. And so I don't know if that will go, but I think it's a topic that is interesting. When the ball hits, what was the exact time? So let's see what happens.
Do you like that? I don't know if I like that.
I don't know either, but it was interesting enough to me to say, let's see what plays were close. Did he step out of bounds? Was there time? Could you get another play? So only if they did it at the very end.
And my only thing with that right there, and again, like I said, it's the NFL League meeting with it. All the head coaches, GMs, and everybody congregate and just, figure out how they can get the league better in the NFL, whether it be the officiating, like he just spoke to some of the rule changes, getting down to the 10th of a second and, seeing if you really have enough time to like kind of get another playoff. I think that is a little bit interesting, but one of the things, and I'm not sure if Dan is going to talk about it here, is the proposed rule change or the proposed change to allow, teams to trade more than just what I think 3 years worth of draft picks and trying to extend it to 5 years of draft picks. And I think the Browns kind of initiated or, kind of threw out the proposal to have that occur. And then I think we just found out later on today is that there won't be any changes. There's not going to be too many. I mean, they took the proposal away, so they're not going to be voting for that. I think that would have been like a real dope, like not dope, but kind of similar to like the NBA, where now you can see a lot more, trade value going away and guys, but then I don't know how that will look because you look at like teams real quick, like OKC. You look at them and you see how they, operate and you see how they function with, building, multiple years of draft picks and you got 5 years of picks or the next 5. Like how can a potential trade for like a guy like, and I'm just gonna throw his name out there, Myles Garrett, like right in his prime time, going for 4, first round picks. And then that team and them now having 4 first round picks and the type of talent that they can get year after year for the next 4 years, on top of their own. And then the whole, where everybody talk about tanking thing, how would that go and how would it work? I don't know, man. I guess guys that play 4 years of football and then going into the league and then, you getting 4 blue chip guys at one time, like and back to back to back, like that's a lot. That's a lot of you are building those teams that are going to be like like a OKC, like the Warriors, if you allowed that to happen, because now you get to stack, talent. You get to stack talent while also developing talent as well. But I don't know, man, how I would feel about that. I would be interested to see how it works but I don't know if I'll be 100% committed to that. Now I'm thinking about like, damn, like if they had the opportunity to, trade the next 4 years, what that mean for like a team that's already nice and got like dominant players on their team. So now they can, because they're going to be good for the next 4 to 5 years with the players they already have. And then I guess it'll offset itself because then, hey, when those contracts ends, you can let those guys go because now you have like stockpile picks of guys that can just sit there and develop and be ready to plug in when those guys want to pay them and they get to go other places and be on other teams. I don't know, man. It's just interesting. I would like to see if that really played out and if it was a thing.
Because the play continues after the clock strikes 0, I don't think you could do it because then you could start a
Yeah,
play.
it'd have to be a
with
timing
0.1.
play. Yeah,
Yeah.
I don't know.
I don't know.
Maybe you couldn't do that. Yeah,
I
so
don't
that's
know.
the only one that's that when I read through some of the proposals, I thought that's worth having a discussion about.
Yeah, no, it's fascinating. We'll see where that goes. I'm against it. I don't have a vote, but I'm against it.
Just
I'll
like
just go in
Parker
the
out
gallery
there.
over there.
Like,
Yeah.
yeah.
We got some meetings in there. I'll just go take the microphone. Excuse me.
I don't even know if it'll be a big
Yeah.
thing, so we'll see.
We'll see. All right. Take this anywhere you want to go. Biggest difference between the 2026 Commanders and the 2025 Commanders will be what?
Resilience. I would say like the 24 team had won a lot of close games, was in it, and the 25 team punched in our mouth and didn't respond the way that we'd hoped we would. So I would say the biggest thing that you will see, there's a lot of really good competitors on our team, and so those moments at the end of the quarter, the end of the half, I think that you'll see, man, one resilient group, like absolutely ready to grow. Obviously led by Jaden, but like I think that's what you'll see from our team.
Resilience, is that coaching? Is that scouting? Is that bringing the right leaders in?
I think it is all encompassing because there's an element of just pure relentless competitor to that. To say when you had the setback, you found your way, you dug through it, and so for us in 25, a lot of that was due to injury. To say, okay, but you find a way, you dig through it. Like everybody has those, and so that piece of the resilience to me, that relentless competing in those moments, I think that's what I'm very much looking forward to seeing.
We talked in this.
And I kind of like that answer from a DQ. And we kind of knew like when he came and got the job, and just to raise hell, the slogans, the metaphors that he was throwing out there, and what he envisioned this team to be like. Once they get the guys that they wanted to get in, and again, like you said, man, 24, it was a lot of nail biter, come to the last, drive wins, and that kind of defined the team. I would say, in my humble opinion, that I felt like that defined the team, regardless of the schedule, regardless of who we played against, regardless of what a lot of people try to, take away from us as a team. Like, oh man, y'all ain't play nobody. All right, that's cool. But the new regime and the new look of the Washington Commanders and the Washington fan base and organization from top to bottom, the resilience, what I'm saying? We saw us compete all 4 quarters, whereas years prior to 24, man, we was tucking our tail, we was unraveling, what I'm saying, arm tape and wrist tape and all that, like biting on our mouthpieces, just sitting there cooling, just waiting for that check to clear after the game. And then, what I'm saying, we kind of seen guys come in and things start to change in 24. And like you said, 25, which a lot of us, don't want to accept as Commanders fans, is that, man, it was an injury player year, but to see some guys still try to fight it out and, grind, and even when it didn't matter, I can admit, even when it didn't matter, and you seen guys, still try to compete, for 4 quarters of football, even to week 17. Going into 2016, yes, you want to see resilience. You want to see a roster that has been built out through free agency so far. Now we got the draft coming up at the end of April. You want to see the guys that we brought in so far come in and compete at an all-time high. You get what I'm saying? Like at an all-time high where it's no, like, hey, with no doubt, it's like, all right, God forbid it's any injuries that come upon us, in 26, is that the next man is ready to step in and ball out. You know what I'm saying? It's like, oh, we God forbid we missing this person, but guess what? All right, we don't really need that. Like we got this other person that's ready to step in and compete at an all-time high.
August in training camp, and obviously expectations were huge. Jaden gets injured, gets off track. Everything flows from there, and that's the story of the season. There's so many things, obviously, that can go wrong over the course of the season. But quarterback health is pretty close to the top as far as problems that can arise. What is your message to him when you sit down and say, "Hey, we're going to attack 2026"? Obviously, health being a big part of it, but then just growing and taking certain leaps. Like, what are you telling him to work on?
Yeah, so at the end, and there's a new system for him as well.
Yeah.
Where we'll be under center more. That part of the offense will have some variation, but for him, he's got exceptional ability to create on the run. So some of those ones can they extend pass to pass, and so he's an exceptional runner. But the explosive plays will come outside the pocket, remaining a passer. So that would be one of the ones for us.
What will being under center more do with them?
I think there's more run action that comes with it, and because of the accuracy of him as a passer, when you have some of these big play pass shots that come from a big run action, with his arm strength, he'll be able to really push the ball down the field. So I think that's one of the good byproducts that come from being under center.
And there it goes right there, man. I know a lot of people are saying like, dang, like you've seen a successful offense for the last 2 years with Cliff Kingsbury. Like, why all of a sudden now is not a successful offense? And I mean, and that goes to the both sides, parting ways, and us moving with David Blau, a first time play caller, and the vision of DQ wanting to see Jaden Daniels more under center. And I said this. I said it even going from his rookie year and going into his second year, is that I wanted to see JD5 run more under center, even though that the success of the shotgun and pistol formation worked for us, and which I think you still could have implemented that, and you could have favored that type of those two formations. But you gotta, the most successful offenses in the NFL, it is a copycat league, regardless of the different flavors of the Ben Johnsons, the Kevin O'Connells, the different, the Kyle Shanahan tree versus the Andy Reid offenses. All of those offenses have a heavy dose of under center play calls, even to the Sean Paytons. Like, you see the most dominant, progressive, and positive offenses is that they run under center. They have a lot of their quarterback is under. You even seen it with the development. And I keep echoing this. You saw it with the development of Lamar Jackson. RPO first 2-3 years, and then as you seen him excel as a passer, where was he excelling at? Getting under the center, becoming more dominant under the center, and being able to run that play action, run those rollouts, run those read options from under center. That keeps the defenses on their toes when you're mixing in multiple formations and they don't know what's getting ready to happen. Yes, we know that you can still run different variations of play action and pistol and shotgun, but come on now. The league is well advanced and well known is that when you're sitting in primary shotgun and pistol, what are you more likely to do? And what was our tendency shown from a Cliff Kingsbury, and what we're going to see with David Blau, is that with Cliff Kingsbury, we saw him shotgun 9 times out of 10, it was passing downs. Even when we should be in a run situation, it wasn't. And again, it worked. But you saw throughout the season that the defense was picking up on a lot of the passing, and it wasn't like, oh shit, we don't know what we're about to run. So now if you implement a lot of under center, into the playbook, along with the shotgun and the pistol, you're adding another layer that defenses have to prepare for. That's a lot. You see Josh Allen, he runs under center, he runs shotgun, he runs pistol. You see Jalen Hurts under center, shotgun, pistol. You see Lamar Jackson, shotgun, pistol, under center. Like, you see everybody that's having success in the offenses in the league running different and running, a lot of their play, not a lot, but running another variation of offense under center. And that's going to help with the run game. It's going to help with the play action. And like DQ just alluded to, is that the accuracy of Jaden Daniels, which we saw the explosive plays with him against Cleveland, him getting out the pocket. Yeah, it was him escaping, but him getting out the pocket and making that deep throw to Terry McLaurin down the field. That's because now you got a guy that's a a very phenomenal dual threat quarterback, getting out of the pocket and being able to make a decision. Hey, I'm still a runner, but like DQ said, still remaining a passer, keeping your eyes down the field, and being as accurate as we've seen him be in 2024. You know what I'm saying? So I'm excited to see this David Blau offense with JD5 going into year 3. Yes, I know last year, and if you go back to some of my other, videos, is that the rookie year was over. Now this year, everything is a lot more calm. I mean, his second year was a lot more calm, but the injuries played a part into, a little bit. Not I'm not gonna say regression, but a stalemate in his progression, due to the injuries. And now this year three, I want to see JD5 put it all together. Put it all together if that makes sense.
Give me a commander that's going to take a leap this year that maybe we're not talking about, whether it doesn't matter the position, but just a guy where, it's not on NFL Live at 4 p.m. saying this guy's going to have a huge season, but he's going to have a huge season.
All right. I will give you one. The first one that comes to mind, he said that was defensive tackle Johnny Newton. And his first year was injuries, had foot injuries to come in.
Yep.
I think he's a guy that's about to just absolutely take off.
What is it about him that you've seen?
As a defensive tackle, man, is he quick. And so beating somebody to the spot. So I think his ability as an interior rusher, I think he'll be somebody that you'll say, okay, I remember talking to Dan back in, March or April, whatever it was, and said this guy, turned into be a heavy hitter.
And that's another thing. Like everybody, pretty much shits the Johnny Newton being drafted in the second round, and rightfully so. Rightfully so. People have have their opinions to how we draft a guy in the second round who had a first round, grade on him coming into that draft last season, and him battling with the 2 foot injuries. And again, like I say, the not important games where he excelled at against Dallas, that's probably his best game all last season. Is that you see him like play so fast, and you're like, God damn, like where has been at? And I get it. You question it because you want to see it right away. But not everybody, takes off right away. And to see DQ still speak highly of Johnny Newton and the potential of him ascending as a defensive tackle, did that also mean trade day? We see Deron Payne gets shipped up and shipped out. That I ain't said. I'm just throwing out a potential. You feel me? But we gonna see.
All right, we're clipping this. We're clipping it. We're going to show you in February, and
I'm down for
when
that.
Johnny Newton's winning Defensive Player of the Year, we'll be at NFL Honors, and we'll just show this right here.
Now that's a reach.
All the way.
Yeah,
so
I will be more than glad to be at that one.
All right, let's do some rapid fire stuff. Most underrated player you've ever coached in your career?
Man, that's so good because there's like many that would flash through right off the spot. I'm going to go back in some time, and I'll give you a player off the Seattle defense that isn't talked about. But I'm telling you, like when he did his job at the highest level all the time, it was a nose tackle. His name was Brandon Mebane.
Yep.
And part of why defenses are played really well, about the stars and who can do that, and that's Wags, Earl Thomas, and Cam, and Sherm, and KJ Wright, and Bennett, and others, Cliff Averill. But a guy like Mebane, when you're the unsung player, that's somebody that comes to mind for me that makes others better by doing the hard jobs. And so he would definitely be one.
It always feels like on those great teams, nose tackles get underrated because they're not racking up the sacks.
Yep.
They're not Earl Thomas. They're not picking off passes, or you can't even see it. I remember a game, I don't think you were the DC, but Earl Thomas gets injured. They'll say the secondary doesn't know how to play. Like they never played football before because of what he's able to do. With a defensive tackle, it's more unseen work.
Yes.
Explain what he was able to do to offenses?
I think the ability for the offensive line, like he didn't get singled a lot.
Yeah.
Like he was somebody who had such power and such leverage that in the combination blocks, man, he was hard to get underneath. And so maybe it allowed the linebackers to scrape faster. Maybe it allowed, those guys who could blitz or, be more aggressive into their gap. So he would be definitely one on the defensive side for me. And I would say the other one would probably be from Atlanta years. He's not underrated, but he definitely impacted our team, would be Alex Mack at center.
Yes.
So I thought of the lineman because competition.
But I've been lucky enough to become friends or closer with people who played with Alex Mack. And when like Mitchell, it's like they played with Loch Ness Monster. Oh, and then you kicked everybody's ass and you find out he had some
built different.
Nobody else would have played through.
Yes.
It's insane.
Yes. He is absolutely built different. And to see him finish plays down the field, but just relentless as a competitor. And so it doesn't show up, obviously, at offensive line or nose tackle, but those are two that made me think of that.
big picture here. Biggest scheme change in the last few years that you think is impacting the NFL today?
I would have to say kickoff.
Mm.
And I think it's awesome that field positions changing, starting field position, keeping people pinned down, the big returns that come from it. Like with as good as some of the offenses and some of the kickers are, if you get one out past the 40, like man, you're close.
Yeah.
And so I think it goes to both sides. Can you keep people pinned down if you put it in play? But I think making the touchback out to the 35, that changed the game because people weren't willing. I'll take it at the 30. So out to the 35, the touchbacks went down, the play went up. So I think that alone has changed in the last season. More plays. And I think it's good, really, honestly, for the special teams players.
Yeah.
Like there were fewer and fewer special teams plays, and now here it goes again.
Absolutely. It's interesting because for a defensive coach,
it's illegal to draw.
Sorry about that.
Change the way end of game sequences go so much.
Yes.
Because not only do you have the what you're describing with the field position, you also got these guys who hit 65-yarders all the time.
That's
so
right.
It's almost like the 13 seconds Chiefs Bills thing a couple of years ago. That seemed like a freak show. Now it happens every single week to some team because of just the way you're able to move the ball down the field.
It does.
Quickly.
When it's a 2-minute, when does that happen? Keep it in play. So all of those come into it, and you really have to trust this group that's covering to say, hey, we're going to pin these guys down inside, the 30, and not allow them to have the extra 5 or the extra yards to go to it.
And I'm gonna say this just about the kickoff, which if some of y'all don't know, like the rule changed like 2-3 years ago, where they adapted the UFL kickoff rules, where they start at the 35-yard line and they run down. It's not the old traditional where you line up and you got to run down. And I guess some of it was due to the injuries that some of the the gunners and some of those guys that was setting the walls and that pause, and they was calling them the wall busters. They try to eliminate that from the league. All right, I understand that part. I don't have an issue with the new kickoff. Maybe I do slightly have a small issue with it because I feel like the league has turned into this, we want to give the the offenses the best opportunity to try to get into scoring. We want to give them as much help as possible, where it's like the help has already been given to them. Like, y'all, there's so many things. And I guess because I'm a defensive minded person and I love what I fell in love with the NFL with was the gritty, like I didn't grow up on this high scoring, NFL that we have today. I grew up on games being 23 to 18, 23 to 17, a tough nosed defensive battle. Like that's just what I grew up on. I understand why it's more exciting to see high scoring football, guys throwing, 30-yard, 40-yard touchdowns, guys breaking 60-yard runs, 40-yard runs. I get it, the excitement level of it and the entertainment part of it. But I do miss the old, like the Super Bowl was I love that game. Like I was intrigued to see who was going to be the first one to get past that 50 and not just kick field goals, but find a way into the end zone and to see the Seattle Seahawks continue to dominate on defense and officially get to a point where their offense comes on the field and breaks the willpower of the Patriots defense, who was playing great as well. Like, bro, that was a good football game. I'm sorry, I don't like blowouts. I don't like high scoring. If it's a high scoring back and forth, okay, all right, it's gonna come down to who got the last possession. I get it. But for me, I don't like that the league is trying to continue to help out the offense and figure out how they can allow the offense to put up more points where you're already pigeonholing the defense in so many ways with the new rules of how you tackle, what's pass interference, how offensive players, especially receivers, get away. And I'm talking about I'm talking about throughout the league, period. How receivers get away with so much of being able to fully extend, because that used to be a flag. Like, you cannot fully extend as a receiver to create separation on a DB. And, even some of the DBs that's getting away with the holding and all that, like, I don't know, man. I'm just a defensive-minded person, and I guess, I understand the reasons why. I understand it from an entertainment aspect. You want a high-scoring football game. People that today's NFL fans don't like to see, back and forth defensive games. They don't like to see that. They want to see guys put up as many points as possible, 60 if they can. And I think that's what it's kind of going to. But back to the kickoff. I don't get back to the old, kickoffs, but I understand why they changed it up. And you can still find some ways to be productive as a return team and as a defensive team. So it is what it is.
Best thing you've learned about DC since you moved there?
Growing up on the East Coast, you always knew it was a heavy hitter fan base, but like getting to feel that firsthand, like that's been a really cool thing for me. And so getting to be a part of that and to feel the energy of the team, like that's something that maybe I don't know if I didn't take it for granted, but like being in it, I didn't know it was as powerful and strong. And so like that lit me up.
It's crazy because I mean I've talked about this before, but like I remember listening to an old NFL film saying, and Parcells was talking, and he was talking about a Giants Washington game, and he said, "Oh, you know how crazy it gets in Washington." And I'm in my 30s. I don't. Honestly, I don't. Like, he's talking about the 80s when I wasn't watching football. I don't clock that.
Yes.
And I think the older generation gets it, and they also know what can come back when things start rolling like they did in 2024. Can you give me an example of just how powerful it is, or interactions you've had where you just say, okay, this fan base is for real and they're excited again?
Yeah, I think just in the smallest sense, you felt the energy of what took place in 24 and what's about to come with the club. And then with Josh and the new stadium that's about to come, like there's momentum, man, like the wave's coming. Yeah. And that's a cool feeling to be on that wave, because it's like, here's the momentum, here's where it can go to. And so you feel that from the community and from people around the DMV.
All right. Any level, quarterback that kept you up the most at night when you were game planning for him?
So I probably had the most, like games probably against Drew Brees. He would definitely be one. Currently, I would say Matthew Stafford does.
Everybody says Matthew Stafford. Everybody.
When you play vision defense and he can look at you and throw here, like that's very frustrating. The arm strength, the accuracy.
Georgia Bulldog.
Ones like obviously Brady as a competitor, like clutch, and so. But currently, I would say Stafford. Like that's the quarterback that can put the ball in the right spots, and so you better have some kind of pass rush going there, because he's tough. He's going to take it and deliver. But I would say, he's the one today.
That is as good an answer as we're every single part. What Fred Warner said it a couple weeks ago. They just can't. When you think you have it with Stafford,
yes,
and you don't.
You don't.
And that's the frustrating thing. And all the greats, Brady, you think you have him. Peyton, certainly you thought you had him. Right?
And like those guys you're bringing up, man, when the heat was the most, like they were down for it.
Yeah.
Like at the end of the games, the end of those moments, I think guys like that, when they're in those spaces, you don't want to give them a lot of time. You better not be like such good. Okay, and obviously he's like talented players with.
It's on Jaden. I'm interested to see. I think the quarterback journey is such an interesting thing now, because the way the portal works now. There's some guys who come in, and it's increasingly rare. They're 5 stars. They play 3 years in college, and they're picked top 5 in the draft, right? And they're at one school.
Yep.
They don't change offenses. That used to be the thing 15 years ago.
Yes.
And not anymore.
Nope.
With Jaden, he transfer schools. Obviously his star rises over the course of a few years. Older prospect relative to some of these other guys. It feels like adversity is baked into his story.
Yeah.
And I'm curious how you view that and how you view him coming off a year where he was banged up, coming off a down year where he had so many expectations, how you think he's going to manage that.
Yeah, the previous experience of those does give you a little, light into it. And that's the thing that we know about. This is a remarkable competitor. And so when you go through the challenges and you've hit to that spot, all right, how'd they respond when that took place? And so for him, like that fire that's inside of him, he's not a yeller or screamer to go that, or like his humility is like really strong. He's not trying to boast it, but like I tell you, like he puts in the work to get ready, like he does that. And so that's what I would expect, from him to come back with a fire that's going to be like very impressive to see.
Dan Quinn, thank you, buddy.
Awesome, man. Thanks for having me on.
And that was DQ sitting with This Is Football, man. Y'all let me know y'all reactions, man. How do y'all feel about DQ? Speaking about the quarterback, speaking about some of the potential rule changes that we might see going into 2026. Also, how you feel about, him and how he breaks down some of what he expects to see from Jaden Daniels going into 2026 in the offense in 2026. Y'all let me know in the comments, man. I'll catch y'all in the next one, baby. Raise hell. I'm up out of here.